So for nearly 30 years now, Corpdata has been in the business of providing precision marketing data to companies who are trying to sell to other companies, business-to-business marketing. Equally, we've been very popular with marketing agencies who wanted to rely on our data to promote the campaigns they've been working on because they didn't want to get embarrassed by bad stuff. So for a whole host of reasons, we're very proud of what we've been doing there. Principally, our data is good because we maintain it by telephone research on an ongoing, never-ending basis, which means hopefully we're trying to pick up on all the errors and the changes that happen over time, and certainly as soon as we ever get to realise that there may be something wrong, we jump right all over that and try and fix it straight away. The data we produce is targetable by all sorts of things, all the things you might imagine in the B2B world, such as industrial sector, company size, whereabouts the company is located, and so on. But in fact, whilst that's great and it works, and we are immensely proud of all the work we've done on that, there are in fact one or two even more targetable files, depending on the sector you're in, which we produce, which we've been producing now, not for quite 30 years, but for certainly over 20 years. So depending on your sector, one or more of these might be interesting. We also have a specific focus file called IT focus, telecoms focus, fleet focus, call center focus, and more recently, online focus. These specifically concentrate on all sorts of things that are in place within the company, addressing those different facets of their operation. So to do with perhaps what types of computers there are and so on. Today, I wanted to try and introduce to you online focus. Online focus is specifically trying to gather information and present information about the way a company is interacting with the online world. So what's their web page like and so forth. It's clearly of interest to anybody offering technological solutions or services revolving around the way the web works, but there are some other areas which are a little bit more obscure perhaps. But starting from the top, I have to say that online focus is a little bit unusual compared to our other products, which are exclusively built by phoning people up and asking questions. This one has the ability that we can actually visit people's web pages and look at what they've got there. And so some of the information actually comes from a practical test of their actual web page. Some of it, of course, still has to come from phoning up and asking, but it's a fusion of those two. So the types of information covers quite a broad spectrum, and so forgive me if I go into quite a long old list here, but I suppose right up from the off, is their web presence e-commerce? Is it just a brochure? Are they doing online transactions and accepting payments and things like that? So what type of trading operation or not are they presenting to the outside world? Other areas include what type of social media activity they have going on. So first of all, which social media they choose to directly relate to, Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing. But also how often they're doing these things. What's the frequency of the blogs and the posts that they put up? It all tells something about how they consider social media fitting into their strategy. How have they approached compliance and the way that there are expectations for web pages these days? So for instance, requirements regarding cookies and privacy notices, real-world transparency for things like, is there a real-world address, phone number, company registration number, and so forth? Is that all displayed on their web page in a fairly easy to get to way? Because all these things are most definitely best practice and in some cases legal requirements, but they're not always being adhered to, so there's either an opportunity there to help somebody catch up and do those things properly, or alternatively maybe it's telling you that you've got somebody here who wouldn't be interested in your stuff because they're not taking it seriously enough. It's a positive indicator or maybe a negative indicator. In terms of security, I suppose there's some aspects as well. So do they have secure areas, perhaps the type of thing where there's a members area where you need a password or something like that? Are they using HTTPS, the secure version of communication, or not? They wouldn't need to if it's just a brochure, but they might need to if it's a bit richer than that. Are they using SSL or TLS or security of that nature to try and lock things up? It all tells us something about the way they perceive their web page and how they're investing in it. In terms of investing in other areas, there's the user experience, which is almost as important, indeed maybe more important. So there's things like what types of media, the mix of videos, animations, audio, that sort of thing that they may have within their site. That all adds to the richness of the user experience. Sometimes it can clutter it, but generally speaking, the more there is, the more likely they are to serve somebody in a way that they relate to. And what's the quality, therefore, of the user experience from the user perspective? Is it mobile friendly? Will it display prettily on a phone, or is it only going to be nice if you're serving it up on a PC? Because the world has changed over the last few years, and many sites which once could have been quite happily just available through a desktop computer now really do need to be able to be presented in a phone type environment. Do they use reputation tracking, such as TripAdvisor or any of those places where a user might vote for people? Do they directly link to those things to encourage referrals and indeed to promote their own referral status so far? Do they use live chat, such as sales agents and things, down a video conference to be able to help people if they're inquiring about a product or service? Do they carry ads for other third parties, or is it just exclusively about themselves? What are the overall features? How often is the site updated? All of this feeds into the user experience and will change the way it's perceived by the user on the outside. At a technical level, there's a number of aspects as well. Does the site use a content management system? What's the web server technology? What operating system is it actually being hosted under? What languages and overall technical complexity of the site is involved in this? Do they use Google services or analytics? Is there some sort of marketing platform to do marketing automation? All of these things are key. It may be that they haven't got marketing automation yet, for instance, but that might mean that in your eyes they're a right target for your marketing automation solution. And then there's slightly more random factors, such as partners of brands. Are they showing other companies' logos and things like Hewlett-Packard or something like that? Are they externally hosted, or are they likely to be hosting it themselves? Is the site database driven, or is it hard-coded in a sort of a structured sense right from the outset? Do they outsource the development or the design, or do they appear to be doing that with their own team? Do they offer recruitment, or not offer? Do they try to recruit through the site? And for that matter, do they sell physical products which involve a delivery charge, or is the type of thing they're doing and providing the sort of thing you can download? Perhaps there may be a charge for the product, but not for a physical delivery. All of these things tell us something about who and what they are. So in terms of the way this might be used to help an organisation promote themselves, the obvious ones are web design, let's say, for those who haven't updated their site recently enough, or equally web design if you know that this company invests very heavily in keeping their site current. Either of those might be a viable target depending on how you position your organisation. Slightly more obscure ones then, perhaps a courier company for those people who are delivering physical products. It might be an invaluable thing to know that these people are charging a delivery fee, therefore there's a product being sent out. Maybe that's an opportunity for you to do that instead. The opportunities are almost limitless. These files are slightly more expensive than our normal premium data file, but potentially for the right product, the right reasons for using it, it might be invaluable about getting optimum efficiency from that precious marketing and sales resources you're deploying. So with that particular product, I'm sure you'll be able to figure out how you might be able to target the correct company for your particular products and services. But don't forget, it's not just about targeting the right company, and we also know within almost all of those the relevant decision maker for the types of decisions you'll be interested in, be that the relevant manager for IT or for sales or whatever field it might be. And in conjunction with that, as part of getting those names for people, we've endeavoured to ask them their preferences with regard to how they'd like to be marketed, so that in the light of GDPR especially, you're able to work with people in a way that they don't find in any way offensive or oppressive, and they're unlikely to be complaining or having a problem with the fact that you've introduced yourself. So check it out, speak to one of our data consultants, have a little look at further details printed on our webpage, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.